IOM Radio Network, the world's conscious broadcasting network. Live on iTunes and archived on iHeartRadio, the voice of consciousness. And now, join Shay Parker's Best of the Best, offering celebrity guests, lively discussions, hot topics, free psychic readings, and expert guest hosts. Simply the best in spiritual and metaphysical talk radio. Listen live on your phone or device using our universal mobile player. No app needed. Shay Parker's Best of the Best. Find out more at bestamericanpsychics.com.
Hello, everybody. This is the Rock Girl coming to you live from Asheville, North Carolina. Welcome to tonight's show, Empowering Your Wild Within. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope we're going to have a fun time. I like to have a fun time. First of all, I want to thank OMTimes for providing this fabulous venue, and also Shay Parker of Best American Psychics for creating Best of the Best. It's an honor to be here. And I wouldn't be here without OMTimes and Shay Parker. So thanks to all of you out there. I really appreciate it and welcome and value the opportunity. So with that said, I never forget that, because without you guys, there'd be no Rock Girl. Also, I guess what we'll do is start out talking about tonight's topic, and then we'll go into some newsy events. Tonight we are going to talk about how to make the most of your psychic reading. All right, how to make the most of your psychic reading. I am a psychic at times, and I do psychic reading at times, and it's about how to make the most of your psychic reading. So we're going to talk about that. But first, for the people who are just tuning in for the first time, my name is Allison Hayes. My friends call me the Rock Girl. You can find me at the rockgirl.com, and also my school at sacredstoneschool.com, sacredstoneschool.com. I do psychic readings, and that's really on my services page, therockgirl.com. And then I also have a school. It is actually physically located in Asheville, North Carolina. I have another location, the Rock Room NYC in New York City, and I teach classes there. I also travel worldwide throughout the country and also internationally. Most of the time across the globe I've been spending in Japan. That's been a lot of fun. And I just came back from a Pennsylvania tour. I was in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I go there every November. I was born and raised in Bucks County, and it gives me a great opportunity to go back. I appear every November at Susan Duval Seminars, and that's in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, and I was there for 11 days this year. We did, just to fill you in about that tour, it's really fun. I did a rocks weekend. I did a Reiki weekend, so I taught rocks on one weekend and Reiki on the other weekend. And then during the week I do readings, and then we also do lectures. Like I did an angel lecture and I did an empowering your intuition lecture. And so we did that, and it was so much fun. And a lot of people who can't make it down to Asheville always come to the Pennsylvania venue. We had people there from Maryland, Pennsylvania, of course, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and I think there was even somebody from Kentucky, from Kentucky, and then I think there was a Vermont and a New Hampshire. And, you know, it's more than just classes. It was interesting. One of my students said, every time I come to one of these workshops, I feel like I'm at a family reunion, because we live, learn, and laugh with each other. We do that at the Rock Girl Sacred Stone School here in Asheville, North Carolina. And we've also developed a really, really great group of people and fabulous energy up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. And I've been traveling a lot. I'm actually going to be in Japan teaching for 6 months on and off next year. So it doesn't leave me a lot of time for my Asheville classes, although that, you know, the new classes for this year will be posted on the Sacred Stone School very soon. But I always love to go back to my roots. It's called the Rock Girl Return to Roots Tour in November in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. That's Bucks County, Pennsylvania. And, you can hear You can hear my Pennsylvania accent when I say that. Oh, that's funny. I scare myself with that accent. But I would have it no other way. But if you tune into Susan Duval, Duval, seminars.com, next year you'll see my schedule, meaning in January we've already got stuff planned for next November. And, let's see, what do we have coming up next year? We have a psychic weekend. Psychic 1 will be teaching the first weekend in November, or the second weekend, and then the weekend after that, we're having a crystal skull extravaganza. Yeah, I'm going to bring a lot of my crystal skulls. I have a lot of crystal skulls, big ones, like 11 pounds, 15 pounds, 22 pounds. A lot of them were charged and activated with some of the ancient famous skulls, like Max, the famous skull, and then there was a Mar, all the ancient skulls. And many, many more than that, because my crystal skulls, attended the 10-10-10, that's October 10th, 2010, Crystal Skull Activation in New York City. And for 3 days and 3 nights, all my skulls were in the same room as these famous ancient ones. And if you know anything about crystal skulls, what they do is they energetically, through electromagnetic frequency, connect to each other, and they transfer information. And so I have acquired quite a collection. I have probably about 250 of my own personal skulls, big and small. I love them all. And the collection that I have that's over 10 pounds is close to about 70. And I won't be bringing all 70 to Doylestown, but I'll be bringing at least a good 15 to 20 crystal skulls, and you can come in and we're going to learn about their history, and you can channel them, and you can bring your own stones and skulls to charge with them. So that's going to be a really fun weekend. So we have the Psychic Development Weekend, the first weekend that I'll be in November, and the dates are going to be on my calendar soon. And then the second weekend will be the Crystal Skull Extravaganza, where you can come and actually work with the skulls yourself. And then during the week, we're going to be doing readings, rock readings, the rock roll readings, and then we're going to have 2 lectures. Actually, I'm just surprising myself. I forgot. It's going to be so much fun. Even though it's a year away, I'm so excited. We are going to do a psychic gallery. So I'm going to be there with my reading rock stones, and we're going to cap out the group about 30 or 35 people. And so we're going to be doing psychic reading gallery, where everybody gets a message, and that's going to be really fun. That's on an evening, I believe on a Thursday evening, Wednesday or Thursday in November. And then on Friday, we are going to do it's about connecting to the frequency of stone lecture about how stones work, and at all of the events up there, at every single event, at the readings, at the lectures, at the workshops, at the gallery, we will be selling the Rock Girl Sacred Stones. And so I'm going to bring a bunch of my own stones from Asheville, North Carolina, and they were my personal stones. They were charging in the school, and a lot of them are ready to be released. They're like butterflies. They're ready to go out and find their keepers. And so I do a huge stone sale of all of my personal stuff that I am ready to release in Pennsylvania, and I only sell them in Pennsylvania or at the Rock Girl Sacred Stone School. So that is what's coming up in November, and I'm so excited about it. Can you tell? And we only have a minute before we go to our next break, I think. But I'll tell you a little story before we get into how to make the most out of your psychic reading. You know, I have a lot of stones. Like, I probably have, hundreds of thousands of stones, big, small, again, gigantic ones. And I have them split between my home, my school, my warehouse, and also the Rock Room in New York City. And I just turned 50 in June. That was last June. I turned 50, the big 50. And I am ready to start releasing the stones that are not mine. I kind of kept them all together for a while and had them charge and connect. And I inherited a lot of them from my stone teacher, Bobby, and he passed away in 2011. And I just needed time to set with them and to go through them. And a lot of times I basically use them in my classes, and my students end up buying them, and they're going on to their new keeper. And what I like to do is I'm ready to let them pass on. And I don't have open stone sales where I just sell them to just anybody. I'm very particular about them because they are very sacred to me and to my stone teacher, Bobby, who's still with us in spirit. And what I like to do is I like to teach a class. I like to do a lecture. I like to educate people about the stones and how to take care of them and how to make their own connection. And that's why I will only sell the stones through my lectures and my workshops. They're not for sale at the open market. So if you can't get down here to Asheville and you're interested in taking a look, do come to the lectures. They're just a 2-hour venue at night. Or better yet, sign up for a class and really get to know the stones and the students and, of course, me. So I do invite you to check out my calendar. It's going to be posted probably January 1st. And we are, going to have a great, great time in November. And then there's some upcoming classes here at the Asheville Sacred Stone School this year in 2017, but they're higher level classes and they're mostly sold out. I am going to do a Lemurian Seed Crystal class in July, which is open to open enrollment. So that's very exciting. And then the rest of the year, I will be in Japan. So that is the upcoming year of 2017. How exciting, right? And that's a little bit about me. You can find out more at therockgirl.com, or you can find out about my school, sacredstoneschool.com. All right, folks, we're going to a commercial break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Have you wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Hello! Join us, Lisa Berry and Michelle Carter, every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for the Mindset Makeover, What's Possible. Get ready to become present, clear, and unstuck, and start living fully, led by your heart. While you listen and feel this transformation through vibration of word, sound, and song, you'll open up to what's possible and experience your shift.
Hi, this is Shay Parker, founder of BestAmericanPsychics.com. If you are a professional psychic or medium and are looking for a group of like-minded individuals that are truly supportive of one another, Best American Psychics is the place for you. Or if you're not a psychic but you're in need of guidance regarding love, money, career, and more, please visit our directory. Each psychic is double tested and approved for accuracy, professionalism, ethics, and more. BestAmericanPsychics.com, a new league of professional psychics.
So, I'm a dog, and I'm kind of new to this family, but I've noticed a trend. My humans do this thing where they go around and get all my toys and hide them in this basket. But it's always the same basket, and it's always the same place. And then they act so surprised when I find them. But I'm like, hello? That's where you put it last time. Humans are the worst at hide and go seek.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Rock Girl Unleashed, Empowering Your Wild Within. I love to do that, and I hope you do too. I want to, again, extend my greatest gratitude to Shay Parker of Best American Psychics for having me on this show, or allowing me to be on the show. And, of course, OMTimes for providing an amazing network that goes out all over the world. So thank you, OMTimes, and thank you, Shay Parker. Alrighty, so what was I thinking about? I was listening to the commercials, and I'm a big animal rescue advocate, and I just love that commercial about the dog. I think that's so cool. I love being on a network that is so, open and loving, and really wants to heal the world. So I've been on a lot of different networks out there. And I've enjoyed them all, and I'm very grateful. But it's really great to be here at OMTimes, a healing station. And again, I just can't say enough for how excited I am to be here, and to everyone who is listening. And thank you again, Shay Parker and OMTimes, for all that you do to get us metaphysical people out into the world. So, all right, so what else do I want to say before we get into this topic, so I do not digress? Anyway, therockgirl.com and the Sacred Stone School. Oh my, something just happened funny on my computer. It happened funny. Anyway, something funny is coming up. Let's see here. What is funny? I see there's people. Aha! People were actually on Facebook. You can go to, let's see, Allison Hayes /therockgirl.com and type in the chat box. Duh. Silly me. I can't even speak. I'm already going into psychic mode. Actually, you guys are witnessing me going from human mode to psychic mode. All right. When I go into psychic mode, the information happens so quickly that I can't keep up verbally. And I do speak quickly. I'm from the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, so I do speak rather quickly. However, when it goes into like the psychic gear, I often skip words, and I do apologize. I did learn to speak at a young age, and sometimes you may not recognize that when I'm trying to do psychic mode. So now we are clicking into psychic mode. And again, if you have questions, folks, you can type them to me in the chat. Just go to Allison Hayes /therockgirl.com and just message me, and that's how we're going to answer the questions tonight. Now, for next month, which is January, we are going to take callers. To be honest with you, I wanted to take callers tonight. I did. And I'm not very computer savvy. I'm really not. And in fact, I'm a disaster. And I was trying to figure out how to do this chat box and all this other stuff. And I couldn't quite get it down to a science, and I didn't want to disconnect anyone. So I decided to err on the side of caution and just ramble tonight. And next time in January, I will take live callers, and I love live callers, and I love you guys when you call in, and I love to hear your questions, and I love to answer your questions. So I am going to be better prepared come January. I'm on the first Tuesday in January, and I promise you I will be ready to take live callers, and I'll get the phone numbers, and I will clean up my act. But until then, if we have any callers that have questions, you can go to Allison Hayes /therockgirl.com, the Rock Girl on Facebook, and type them in the box. And somebody just made a comment and said, looking forward to meeting your crystal skulls, even if I have to wait for November. All right, Katie, thank you. Thank you for your patience, and I do promise you it will be worth the wait. Yay, I answered a question. All right, Katie, thank you very much. And if anybody else has questions, just Facebook me, and I will get to them very quickly. All right, on to tonight's venue, how to make the most of your psychic reading. All right, so let's talk about this. A lot of times people call up, and, well, I call them, and they're like, okay, I want a psychic reading, and I say, what would you like to know? And they basically say, well, what do you want to know? Just tell me whatever. And I don't like to start that. And I'll tell you why. Because the guides, we only have, say, a half an hour or an hour, and they're like, well, just tell me what comes through. And that's when it's giving your guides carte blanche to, like, come in and tell me all this stuff. And then I have to weed through it and then basically kind of tell you what they're saying. And a lot of times it's not what you wanted to know. And so what I like to do is approach things from a more organized point of view. And if you come to a psychic reading with a list of burning questions, say 3 or 4 questions if you have a half an hour reading, or 5 or 6 questions if you have an hour reading. And that's a really great way to make the most out of your psychic reading, because you have kind of an organized list of what you'd like to know. And this magical thing happens is when you start to ask the guides what you want to know, then they start to give you information, and then you get more information on top of it. And so they do answer things that you had not asked, but it's a really great way to start by writing down your list of questions and what you want to know, because I'll tell you what, I would say 7 out of 10 readings, a lot of people are like, after the reading is over, they're like, oh, I forgot to ask this. And then I'll get an email and, they'll book another reading, which is fine because I love talking to you and I love doing the readings, but you'd have to pay for that. So if you come to the table with a list of questions and you spend some time preparing them, then at least all your questions are answered, and then we can go on to all of the good stuff afterwards, all the extra goodies. And so that's a really good thing to keep in mind. And so I'm going to just go over the little write-up here, all right, that I did for this show, and we're going to talk about that and kind of tease it apart, and then we're going to go into more detail later. All right, did you ever get a psychic reading and end up more confused than when you started? I'm raising my hand. How about all of you? Did you ever get a psychic reading and end up more confused than when you started? And the answer is yeah. Now, again, I'm a psychic, and I've had psychic abilities since I was a child, but that never made me a psychic. Let's just talk about that for a minute. Just because I get psychic messages doesn't mean that I am qualified to deliver the messages to people. And so when we get our psychic messages about what's going to happen and, whether you see something, hear something, know something, feel something, I'm sure, especially in this new frequency of 2012 and beyond, that is what I like to call a psychic hit, a psychic HIT, a psychic hit where you got the hit. So, okay, so you got a hit, and now what do you do with it? So do you go knock on the door of someone and tell them you got a message? Do you, not do anything about it? What do you do with it? What you want to do is, first of all, get really good training if you start getting psychic messages. Learn how to turn it on and turn it off. Right away, you got to turn it on and off like a light. You don't leave the lights burning all the time. They'll burn out, or they'll run up your electricity bill, or both. You don't want to leave your psychic stuff on all the time because it will run up your battery, right? And it will also burn you out. And so you got to get some really good training, and I teach that in my Psychic 1 class. How to turn it on, how to turn it off, how do you know whether it's valid or not, what is the difference between your intellect, your logic telling you what to do, and also what is the difference between, your guides telling you what to do. Again, we explore all of that in the Psychic 1 class. And then in my Level 2 class, we start meeting your guides and developing a language with your guides. Like, I'm a psychic. I have my psychic guide. My psychic guide talks to your psychic guide. It's called guide-to-guide communication. So if I just met you and I'm doing a psychic reading for you, and all of a sudden, your guides come down and they're talking, what if I don't understand what they're saying? If I don't understand what they're saying because I don't know their language, either I'm interpreting it and I could misinterpret it and give you wrong information, or I just start thinking that I know what I'm talking about that maybe I don't. And for me as a psychic, there's too much room for error in there. So what I have learned to do, and again, I was trained professionally as a psychic in Europe. I went over to the UK back in the 90s and early 2000s, and I studied psychic ability, and I learned platform and all of that good stuff, and I really learned a whole lot. It was really like studying a science of psychic science rather than kind of this kind of airy, fairy, feel-good stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love airy, fairy, feel-good for myself, but I really need to know that I deliver the message in a detailed, accurate, and evidential way to my client, and make darn well sure that I get them right, because I do take my job very seriously, and I know you guys need answers. So what I've learned to do is I have my psychic guide, and we have our language, and we've developed our symbols. And then my psychic guide speaks spirit, speaks psychic to your psychic guides as a translator, and then drops a message down to me, and then I just tell you in English. And so I know without a shadow of a doubt that my psychic guide and we speak the same language. So when that guide is telling me what's going on, I know it and I repeat it. I am simply the messenger. And if my guide says you need to work at your job for 3.2 months and then you will be getting a new one based on an interview you have on April 2nd, then you know what? I know that's true. Whereas if I was not speaking psychic language that was on the same page as another one, I may get some of those details incorrect. And for me, that's not acceptable. And so that is why I'm such a stickler about the details and how I work with my guide and my psychic guide and what language we speak. And I teach all of that in Psychic Level 2. Now, in Psychic Level 3, we talk about how to actually become or start reading as a professional. In Level 1 and Level 2, you learn to read for other people. But Level 3, we go through your business. We go through the ethics. We go through marketing. We go through your price points, and that's Psychic Level 3. Oh, here comes that music. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more about how to make the most of your psychic reading. Okay. Talk to you soon.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Spiritual, metaphysical, green living, psychic, alternative healing, life coaching. Do any of these or similar terms apply to your business or cause? If so, you are in a niche market with a very specific audience. Conscious Gate PR is the world's leading conscious public relations agency. With a global reach of over 4 million and growing, we offer comprehensive media campaigns to our targeted market. Learn more at ConsciousGatesPR.com. Conscious marketing for conscious minds.
Hi, this is Vicki Snyder, the Everyday Mystic Angel. What's that, you ask? Well, it's an angel with a down-to-earth edge. And you can catch me live every fourth Tuesday from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on The Best of the Best. Learn more about me and my services at www.vickysnyder.com. That's VICKISNYDER.
I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver to Mom. I had no idea how hard it would be and what I would need to know. Things I never thought of, like how to improve her mood and ways for me to stay positive. Luckily, I found the Caregiving Resource Center from AARP. It had articles about the basics, but also information about the hurdles I was facing. Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Articles, tips, and tools to help you both care for your loved one and care for yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hello, everybody. We are back with Rock Girl Unleashed, Empowering Your Wild Within. Tonight we are talking about how to make the most of your psychic reading. All right. Well, I went through this diatribe before the last commercial break about how I learned to read, and every psychic is different. This is just how I read, and I like to explain that to my clients and my students because it helps me become more confident, and it's my way of getting more detailed, accurate, and evidential information. But it's not to say that this is the only way. It certainly isn't. There's a lot of amazing psychics out there, and they get their information from different ways. And as long as you find the right way for you, that's all that matters. Okay? And so I went through that detailed description of how I read because I learned to develop it and I learned to hone it and I learned to appreciate it because I myself was on the other end of psychic readings where I ended up more confused than when I started. And I felt that spirit was speaking in riddles and leaving me begging for more. Okay? And so that I found frustrating. So, as a psychic, I can contact my guides and get some answers, but I always like to get psychic readings from other people because, sometimes I need that clarity and that perspective. Or if it's a really touchy, hot topic for me, I don't get clarity. And so I do have a handful of psychic colleagues that read for me, and I never walk away confused. And I never walk away feeling that spirit has spoken in riddles. And now part of that is the responsibility of the psychic who's doing the reading. But the other part is the client. The client's responsibility. And so we're going to talk about what you can do to get more clarity and focus and answers out of your psychic reading. All right, we're going to talk about what you can do. I just explained to you what I can do as a psychic for my clients and my students. But if you don't get a reading from me and you're getting it from other people, you can have some control on what kind of information comes your way. Because I don't want you to walk away confused, and I don't want you to think that spirit speaks in riddles. All right. Now, part of the show's write-up tonight, I do my own write-ups, it says, join the Rock Girl as she helps you navigate through the psychic realm. Separate fact from fiction and learn to speak spirit. Come away from your next psychic reading with more clarity, focus, and direction, and be well on your way to a more fulfilling and empowered future. All right? So let's talk about navigating through the psychic realm and separating fact from fiction and learning to speak spirit. All right. So, again, what we talked about earlier is come to your psychic reading armed with questions. And a lot of times people will say, I only want a one-question reading. All right. And so you call them up. And honestly, you called someone up for a 5 or 10-minute reading. I don't even offer those anymore because usually there's so much more to say than a yes or no. But if you go into someone and you're doing the per-minute thing and you don't want to spend a lot of money, and you ask a question, then you're going to get a yes or no. And, given the fact that the psychic is an amazing psychic, which many are, then you get a yes or no, and that's good. And so that's a yes or no question. That's a quick question. But I like to do 20 to 30-minute readings for 2 to 3 questions, and I like to do an hour reading for 5 to 6 questions. Why is that? So I can waste your time or waste your money? No, because if you come to the reading with questions, you know that you're going to ask those questions and you're not going to forget what they are or get distracted by, say, an answer to another question. And then you get your money's worth. You get your questions ready. And I'll tell you, as a psychic, I like to hear all of your questions up front for 2 reasons, because it brings forth the different guides that will answer them. But also I know how many questions you have, and I can make sure that we get them all answered. If you just tell me you have 2 questions and we're getting, towards the 20-minute mark and, you have a 20-minute reading and then you throw 3 more my way, we're not going to have time for that unless, you want to end up extending the reading. And you want to make sure you get them all out in a detailed manner at the beginning of the reading. So the psychic can go through them all. So it's not fair to ask a psychic to answer all your questions when you don't ask all your questions. So make sure that you're good with that, okay? Now, the second one is to, separate fact from fiction, all right? So in doing that, a lot of times you want to ask detailed questions. When someone calls me up, I have to laugh because you'll understand why I'm laughing. I want to know about my relationship. Okay, your guides will literally look at me and say, well, which relationship? All right? Do you want to know about the relationship with your mother, your brother, your father, your lover, your husband? Okay, your relationship with your yoga teacher. Which relationship is it? Your guides do have a sense of humor, and we have many guides, okay? We have a soul guide, which is at the top of your head, and it guides your soul through this lifetime and next. And then we have a gaggle of wise counsel that surrounds us. A lot of times when somebody comes to a reading, whether it's in person or on the phone, 5 or 6 guides step forward, and those guides they preside and they advise over career, finance, love, relationships, health, family, parenting, business guides. And so you have a gaggle of guides that are with you to advise you on the best moves to make. And so again, your guides, they're like your GPS. They are there to advise you. You can get in your car, and if I'm in Asheville and I want to go to New York, I say, okay, I'm at this location in Asheville, okay, I'm at the Sacred Stone School at 2000 Riverside Drive, blah, 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 and I want to go to 44th and 10th in New York City. I have to put in the coordinates. I have to put in the details. So my GPS will take me from 2000 Riverside Drive in Asheville, North Carolina, to 44th and 10th in New York City. And so those are detailed, accurate questions. And then I put that into the GPS. Then it goes up to the satellite. It comes back down, and then it tells me which is the best route to take. It offers you 3 routes, actually, and you choose which one you want to go. And it will tell you if you leave now, you'll be there in 11 hours and 4 minutes. Can you tell I've done that before? So 11 hours and 4 minutes. But that's if I leave now. Now, it's my responsibility to get in the car and go. All right? If I don't go, then I'm not going to get there. And also, if it'll say if you go, then drive straight through and you do 75 miles an hour and don't stop, you'll be there in 11 hours and 4 minutes. But if you hit traffic, if you get off to get gas or something to eat, or you don't follow the instructions perfectly, you'll get there later. I mean, honestly, it's taken me 14, 15 hours to get to New York sometimes because I stopped to get gas, or I stopped to get something to eat, or I got stuck in traffic, or I thought I knew where I was going. How many of you have done that before? The same thing applies to your psychic reading. Your guides are there to drop down and give you the best advice to guide you through your problem or towards your goal or help you figure out something in your relationship, but they will give you detailed, accurate information. But if you don't listen to it, then they're not going to help you. So please don't shoot the messenger. A lot of times, people will call me up and they'll be like, you told me back in January that I would have a job in April, and I don't have a job yet, and it's May. And then the guide will drop down, and they'll look at me like she didn't do anything. And then I'll know that she didn't do anything. Well, the last reading, the guide said, you will have a job by April 14th. But what you need to do it is this, all right? You need to go to a temp agency, you need to learn a new skill, and then you have to have them place you, and you'll go through 3 interviews, and then you'll get the job on the 3rd interview. Okay, and so when the person I talked to in May says, I didn't get the job in April, the guides will tattle on you. They will. They'll tattle on you. They'll say, she was sitting on the couch eating Fritos. All right, she didn't go to the temp agency. She didn't go to the employment agency. And, she went to the temp agency and they told her to take a course on Word or Excel 2015 or whatever it is. She never did that, so she didn't get the job. So don't shoot the messenger, don't shoot the psychic, and don't shoot your guides. Both of us, well, not both of us, all of us, I should say. I'm here along with all of your guides to help you make the best of your life. That's why I do this. Psychics are like dentists. You don't go to the dentist usually until you have a problem. And if you do, it's to prevent a problem. Okay? And people don't, and I hate going to the dentist personally, but people don't call psychics because they're having a great day. Okay? They call psychics because they need guidance, or they're in a problem, or they're in a pickle, or they're having a problem. And they usually don't call until the last minute, most of them anyway, unless it's a panic. I do have some really cool clients that call me once a year in January or February to have an overview of what their year looks like. That's actually the best way to utilize a psychic reading, is to kind of get a forecast of this year to kind of figure out what to do. It's like watching the weather forecast. Be prepared, right? It's going to rain, so you may not want to do something that day. Or guess what? It's going to be a drought, so you need to conserve water. The same thing with basically the kind of overview life path readings once a year. It says, listen, this job may be ending, but another one's coming up. Or, hey, this might be a dry spell as far as finances go, so you may not want to take that vacation until October. And so, again, that's another way to get the most out of your psychic reading is don't wait. Don't wait until you're in a crisis. Because if you did have a reading earlier, perhaps you could have avoided that. Because a lot of, again, it's just like a GPS. If there's traffic or there's a detour, your GPS will tell you so you can avoid it. Your psychic reading will do so as well. All right? And so that's a really good thing to know. Now, we have about a minute left before we go to our last commercial break, but I wanted, I wanted to touch on what to do. Well, actually, let's recap, and then after the break, we'll touch on something new. The best way to make the most out of your psychic reading is to have a list of questions prepared. All right, and you can always leave room for the fun goodies that come through afterwards, but have your list prepared, number one. And number two, be willing to do what the guides are asking you to do, or guiding you anyway. Suggesting, that's a better word. All right, the music's coming on. We're going to break. We'll be back shortly. Don't go away, folks.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Rock Girl Unleashed, Empowering Your Wild Within. And right now we're talking about empowering your psychic readings. All right, how to make the most of your psychic reading. Number one was to come armed with a list of questions to make sure you don't forget any at the end of the reading. And number two, be willing to listen to what the guides have to say. So a lot of times, people want to know how to find a husband or how to find a job. Those are two of the biggest ones. And the guides will drop down and give the client detailed, evidential, accurate, information on how to get there. And people will just, you can't just sit there and expect the guides to do everything. They're there to guide you. They're there to advise you. You're the one driving the vehicle, and that would be you. And so they're on the other side saying, hey, take a left, take a right, interview for this job, do this, do that. And they're going to help you. And if you listen to them, then they're always accurate. I promise you. They're always accurate. So the next question is, how do you speak spirit? How do you know what your guides are saying? All right. Well, in a psychic reading, that's my job, is to speak spirit. And my job is to speak spirit, and I speak with spirit, and then I also speak to you. So I'm actually a translator. That's what I am, a translator. I am not a mind reader. I'm not going to look at you and read your mind. I'm not. I'd love to say I could, but I don't. But I do speak spirit. And I try very hard, and I go to continuing education, and I practice all the time to be detailed, accurate, and evidential. And so I speak spirit when I am connecting to the guides to get you the most accurate information. And what can you do to help out during your psychic reading? All right. So have you ever had a reading where someone says, oh, well, it looks like you are going to go on vacation, there will be a lot of water, and you'll be on a beach. And you're like, oh, wow, okay. Well, your logical mind says that you are going on vacation and that, you'll be on a beach, right? So I can't even remember what I just said, because that's a logical thing. What you want to do is connect to spirit. Okay? Oh, yeah, I said a lot of water. Now, that's logical stuff, right? So automatically you're saying I'm going on vacation by water and I'll be on a beach. Okay? So you're like, wow. And your logical mind automatically fills in that you are going to Cancun. Now, is that your logic speaking because you want to go to Cancun? Or is it your guides speaking? Well, I got news for you. Your guides give you detailed, accurate information. And how do you get that? As a psychic, I have learned, just ask for more. So if I'm getting a message and it's saying you're going to go on vacation and it's going to be by water and there'll be a beach, they're showing me a picture of the water and they're showing me a picture of the beach. So my job is to give you a detailed blow-by-blow. All right, it looks like you're going on vacation. Now, I would automatically ask the guides, when is that? And my guides come down and they'll say, oh, December. And then I'll say, December when? See how I ask for more? All right, just ask for more. So if you're getting a psychic reading by someone and they say, you're going on vacation, there'll be a water and a beach, ask them for more. Ask the psychic to ask for more. And so what I would do as a psychic is I'll ask the guides, when are you going on vacation? December. All right. Can you please give me a date or a week? And they'll be like, okay, December 13th through the 21st. Okay, very good. Now I got that answer because I asked. Then they say it's going to be by water. All right, we'd assume it's in the Caribbean. We all like to go on vacation there. But, oh, this water is on a lake. A lake? Where the heck is a lake in the middle of December? Why would I want to go there? What kind of beach? And so I would ask for more details. They're showing me it is a lake. All right. And then what kind of beach? Then they're showing me a short beach, and it's got some pebbles on it. Oh, yikes, that's not my Cancun beach. What do you mean vacation? I don't want to go on vacation. So your logic starts popping in. And so as a psychic, I would say, it looks like you're going on vacation. I asked the guides, they said December 13th through the 21st. You're not flying there. It looks like you're driving and you're going to see family. And the body of water they're describing is a lake. It looks like a lake. They're showing me a lake. And then this is what the beach looks like, and I would describe the beach in detail. And then you're like, oh my gosh, my Aunt Clara lives in Michigan. I'm going out to Michigan, to Lake Michigan, to go on vacation. And so that is how, it's not what we're expecting. You don't want to frame in your psychic reading and try and put the square hole in the round, well, no, the round peg in the square hole. You don't want to do that because you may be missing something. All right. You're going out to see Aunt Clara in Michigan for the holidays. And maybe it's not something you thought about doing, and then your guide said, hey, it's a good idea. And perhaps, you go out there, you have a great time, and there's a reason you're going to see Aunt Clara. So that is how to make the most of a detailed, accurate information of your psychic reading, because you're asking for more. Don't be afraid to ask for more. If your psychic says to you, oh, well, I see a tall man, and he's very handsome, and, you're going to meet him in May. Okay. Can you give me more information? Can you ask my guides for more? Do you have a week in May? What does this guy look like? Can you show me more? And if you ask the guides for more, they will tell you. And so I don't, a lot of times it's our responsibility as the client to ask for more. And a lot of times the psychics, they bring through so much information so quickly, and they're giving you what they're getting. But if something pops up in your head that you want to know more about, then go ahead and ask for more, because your guides will tell you. So the whole point is coming away from your next reading with more clarity, focus, and direction. All right? Now, not only are there like the kind of physical details and everything like that, but there's reasons. A lot of times, I'll give you myself as an example. I suspected that my husband, this is a long time ago when I was married, was cheating on me. And I remember I called up a psychic and I said, is my husband cheating on me? And they're like, yes. And I remember I had a sneaking suspicion it was happening. After all, I am intuitive from time to time. And yeah, it's awful, right? Yeah. So I asked the psychic, I said, can you please ask my guides what I'm supposed to do about it? Am I supposed to confront him? Am I supposed to go to marriage counseling? Am I supposed to ignore it? What am I supposed to do about it? And so they gave me some guidance. The guide said that you're going to confront him, but he's going to not tell you the truth. But you will end up finding out what the real truth is, and by that time you should really talk to a lawyer about this, and you can be prepared. And that's exactly what I did, okay, because not long after that, I did catch him red-handed in the act, and I did seek some sage advice that really saved my life, really, as far as put a roof over my head. And so even though I didn't want to hear it from the guides, I'm glad they told me and gave me, told me what was happening, and then also said, seek legal counsel before this happens, just in case. And then I also, on that reading, I said to the psychic, well, why is this happening? Can you ask me why this is happening? Is there a bigger picture? And the psychic was like, so you could learn and grow. And I'm like, well, gee, thanks, learn and grow. I could figure out, I could do something else to learn and grow. And they said, no, you need to learn and grow, and you need to go out on your own, and you need to do your metaphysical business. And if you were within this marriage, you would not branch out to that extent, and you have work to do. And so by asking that information, why is that happening, then I understood. And as everything unfolded, here I am years later doing exactly what the guide said to do. And I got great information from my guides through the psychic, and I was able to ask more questions as what am I supposed to do about it, and why is this happening? So ask the question, and then be ready to hear the answer. And if you don't like the answer, and even if you do, how do I do this? Hey, you're about to get your dream job in July. Oh, my God, I'm so excited. That's great. What can I do to make this happen? Ask that question, and the guides will drop down and answer you. And a lot of times, let's talk about timelines, all right? Speaking about timelines, it's 8:57, and I have about 2 minutes left. Anyway, timelines. A lot of times the guides will give you, or the psychic will say, the guides are saying within 3 months. And so, okay, maybe I don't want to wait 3 months. Well, ask your guides, do I have to wait 3 months? Or is there something that I can do to expedite this process? And the answer would be, no, you can't, but you need to keep showing up for your regular job, and then you're going to get this new job offer in 3 months, but make sure you wrap things up at your other job. There's a purpose for you being there for 3 months. Okay, what is it? And the guides will tell you. And then also, maybe they'll say, you can actually go to this interview next week that you didn't feel like going to, and you can get that job faster. And so the point here is just don't sit there and be a passive kind of being during your reading, being integral part of your reading. Now, don't ride the psychic and don't hug, all the time. I mean, a lot of times I've had clients, I try to speak and then they don't let the guides finish, but I'm pretty good at navigating through that. However, be active, be an integral part of this psychic reading. Remember, come armed with a list of questions. Be willing to hear what the psychic and your guides have to say. Be willing to do what the psychic and the guides are saying, and also ask for more. Walk away from that psychic reading satisfied that you got your questions answered. Oh my goodness, the show is ending. All right, I have to go, but make sure to ask the psychic for the directions and be responsible. Take action and carry out what your guides are telling you to do. All right, folks, I got to go. I'll talk to you in a month. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for Shay Parker's Best of the Best. Be sure to tune in next week for more lively discussion topics. Have a great week, and don't forget to check out bestamericanpsychics.com in case you need some professional, ethical, and accurate psychic advice from the nation's best psychics. Until next week, take care of yourselves and one another.